For the last 3 years, San Diego's diversion of waste out of the landfill has remained at 68%. But California mandates the city's waste diversion must reach 75% by the year 2020. Here to talk about a zero waste initiative before the city council is Rebecca Hayes, a recycling specialist with San Diego's Environmental Services Department. Rebecca, welcome.
Thank you.
So you've got this initiative, the Zero Waste Initiative, before the City Council. Give us some highlights of it.
Well, some highlights are, one, I just want to say we're excited to be bringing this forward. We took it to the Natural Resource and Culture Committee yesterday, and we'll be moving to full council in December. But the main highlights are we're striving for a goal of 75% diversion by 2020 and zero waste by 2040.
And are there caveats in there on how to go about this? Like some plans are ready, even though it's not officially a plan yet?
We have strategies in mind, but part of getting to this next step of developing the plan is just being able to take those pieces and the research and best practices we've learned from other cities and putting it together in conjunction with having conversations with key stakeholders and developing a plan that works for San Diego and San Diego's own unique dynamics and community.
Oh, okay. So sort of a group effort there.
Right.
How much waste is actually piling up at the Miramar Landfill? I understand it's running out of room.
Well, we have a projected meeting capacity of 2022, but we feel like our diversion efforts will allow us to expand that capacity. And certainly moving forward with zero waste will allow for that increased capacity.
I understand that 15 cities in California already have zero waste policies. What sort of mental shift needs to take place here in San Diego to make a zero waste policy successful?
I'm glad you brought that up because it really is a mental shift. It's a way of thinking about products. So you're talking about, in industry, we call it cradle to grave. So it's thinking about when the product is being produced to the point of when it's being discarded. So that also falls in line with when you, as a consumer, when you're purchasing a product, what's going into the materials? Are they going to be recyclable? Are they going to be reusable? What can we do with them? So you think about that as a consumer when you're purchasing it, but also keeping in mind that whole idea of trash to treasure.
Okay, tell us about that.
Reframing our perspective. Instead of thinking of something as trash, it becomes treasure. So maybe we can upcycle something, or maybe there's a resource that comes out of it, or maybe it is a resource in and of itself.
So trying to avoid the landfill altogether.
Correct.
Now I know, as you were talking about, San Francisco has a zero waste goal by 2020. They've already reached 80% diversion. Right. So they're a nice example. Are you going to be looking at cities like San Francisco? What can we learn from successful places like that?
Absolutely. We always look at what other cities do and what works for them. And again, fitting it into what works with the city of San Diego's dynamics as well.
What are the major challenges in reaching waste diversion goals here? And I have a backup to that. Is how much is that going to cost the residents, or is it going to cost the residents more?
Well, right now, we don't have any financial projections because we're in the process of developing the plan. We certainly know that we'll need to have funding mechanisms in place to fund these programs. But also in terms of challenges, it's what we just talked about before. It's reframing people's perspective. That cradle to grave, when you're being a consumer, it's when you, at point of disposal, instead of thinking it's trash, thinking of it as being compostable, as thinking of it as being recyclable, or even upcycling it, which is taking something and making it into something new.
Right, and I do know there are some incentives already for composting and things like that.
Correct.
So perhaps that might be something to offset the cost.
Yes.
I see. What is the Zero Waste Initiative here in San Diego? If that goes forward, what would that mean to jobs? Would it mean job losses from people at the landfill? Would it mean more jobs, or do we know yet?
I think it'll mean more jobs. I mean, other cities have demonstrated that implementing zero waste has allowed for more jobs, especially in the green industry and the green manufacturing industry, also in recycling, in composting. And a simple example would be maybe inviting more folks in to do reusable bags.
Okay, well, we'll certainly be following this. Rebecca Hayes, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time.